All right. Better camera, wider angle, Enthusiacs cup. Let's get it started. Hello everyone, this is Black Dragon back again to give you another review for Avatar The Last Airbender, Book 2, Chapter 2, The Cave of Two Lovers. As I did last time, I'm going to be doing my top 5 likes of the episode and my top 5 dislikes of the episode. I'm going to be saving the likes for last because I want to get like the nitpicks and everything like that out of the way. And of course, some of you may realize that I'm borrowing this method from Grace over at Behind the Trailer. It's a very great method. I love doing it, and I appreciate her for, for doing it and setting an example. But it is not a trademark thing, so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it my way. So, with that said, let's get into the show. The first thing I disliked about this episode was the premise of the cave itself. I'm not sure if it's just the Cave of Two Lovers, that they were earthbenders and that they created it and things like that. I don't feel as though it served a purpose other than to not only give us more filler, but to give us more backstory on the world, I guess, and the lore and the superstitions, and just to make it so that we have some more stuff to sink our teeth into. And while I appreciate that it's giving us more into the world, I feel like we have enough to the point where Aang is on his mission now to learn the 4 bending disciplines. He is trying to get to an earthbender. At this point, it's King Bumi. So let's do that. Let's go straight to that. And the second thing I didn't like about this episode, the hippies. Yeah, I'm gonna call them hippies, because they're frickin' hippies, okay? They're useless characters. They don't, even in the cave, they don't help, they don't serve any purpose, and I believe they're just there to, number 1, drive Sokka crazy, which, I don't know, gets old after a while. And 2, to make sure that we pad out the running time with some extra dialogue not from our main characters. I didn't appreciate them, I didn't like them as side characters. Now, if you were to bring back, say, Haru, or, I don't know, Jet, that might be interesting. The third thing I didn't like about this episode was the love thing between Aang and Katara. Yes, we get it, Aang is in love with Katara, but it's kind of unrequited at this point. It's one of those things where, yeah, we kind of explored it in the first season, but there was really nothing to go on. And really, they didn't explore it enough in the first season for me to really care about it. And I understand that you need to have some sort of romantic angle in this type of a show, especially a kid's show, but I didn't feel as though it matched in any way, shape, or form. I didn't feel like this was a proper second episode. And then in the cave, it just didn't feel right. It felt forced to have them trust in love by trying to kiss when all the lights go out. And I thought it was a clever idea to have the gemstones lining the cave light up when the light goes out. That was pretty clever. However, did those people that built this place, did they put those gems there? The fourth thing that I didn't like about this episode was Sokka being made out to be a wet blanket. In every circumstance, almost throughout the entire show, yes, Sokka can be a wet blanket, but in this episode, he has a point. Why don't we stop fooling around with these stupid caves and treacherous passes? Let's get on Appa and fly. Speaking of, the last thing that I didn't like about this episode, and the most important thing that I didn't like about this episode, is that they didn't get on Appa and just fly. Now, they tried to. They got shot down, so to speak. But Appa can go pretty high. The fact that they didn't get on Appa and just fly really, really high over the Fire Nation, over the Fire Nation troops, over this stupid mountain, and get to Omashu, just makes it all the more irritating, because they have this flying bison. Use him! Come up with some other adventures! Now on to the likes, and the first thing that I liked about this episode is the fact that the Fire Nation troops have heard of the song and the legend of the cursed mountain, and one of the guys goes, "Oh man, we can't go in there. Didn't you hear the song?" The second thing I liked about this episode was that we got to see a little bit of training with waterbending. Aang and Katara are training with waterbending. He's learning a new form. He's clearly been practicing with Katara and everything like that. They've been going back and forth and, you know, going over forms, techniques, breathing, all that jazz. I like that we saw a little bit of it, and I wish that we could have seen more instead of going into this stupid cave. The third thing that I liked, and it's a mirror of something that I said that I didn't like, was that everyone made Sokka out to be a wet blanket, is the fact that Sokka is the only sane one. A lot of the time, trusting in love, a lot of times you have to put your faith in something. You have to make sure that you're not too jaded to where you can function properly. But no, Sokka is made out to be a wet blanket. He's you know, talking sense at every turn and every juncture, and nobody wants to listen to them, and look at where it gets them, stuck in a cave. And if it hadn't been for Sokka trying to play music for badger moles accidentally, they'd have died in there. And the fourth thing that I liked about this episode was that Zuko is connecting with an Earth Kingdom commoner, a girl that had her father taken away by the Fire Nation, who's living with her mother. They're making ends meet, but he's getting to see just how this war is affecting everybody. War is never good. It never brings about the type of change and peace that people want it to. And Zuko, as his development goes on, will interact with people of the Earth Kingdom and live among them as a refugee and really learn just what his family is doing to the rest of the world. And it will teach him more about how to be a better leader, how to be, well, a better father, and how to be just a better person in general. Fire, while destructive, is not necessarily something that should be used as a destructive force, and the Fire Nation is doing just that. So for Zuko to come to this home, and granted he does steal their alpaca emu thing at the end, you see him starting to, you see that internalization of seeing that girl's burn mark on her leg and just being like, oh snap, wow, that sucks. I'm hoping that there's a future, like in the comics or whatever, that explains, well, you know, he did return the animal to her, to her family. I'm hoping that he at least paid some reparations to that family and every Earth Kingdom commoner that he's come across, that maybe he's wrong, because he does do some bad stuff in this season, but he's trying to survive, and him trying to survive is a great character building thing that I love seeing throughout the season, especially when we get to the third season. Going on to the last thing that I liked about this episode is Iroh loves tea. Their first time out as fugitives, and he tries to drink a bush that he thinks may be tea, but it turns out to be poison. And oh my god, I love Iroh. He's so funny, because like he's supposed to be like this seasoned veteran and like this wise older figure in Zuko's life, but even he makes mistakes. Like drinking from a bush that you thought was tea and it turning out to be poison. And then almost eating berries that could either be a cure for the poison or cause blindness. So I found that so hilarious, and it puts them in a position to where Zuko can see how these Earth Kingdom commoners are living. So gotta thank Iroh for pushing the plot forward. Overall, it was a decent episode. Like I said, it felt more like filler than anything else, and I would really appreciate it if we could move on into something a little more appetizing, a little more bending, fight worthy. There weren't even any fights in this episode, so I'm hoping that as we move forward, you know, you guys will kind of see more of my enthusiasm, because this is not a great start to the season. So I hope you guys stick around. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate that you guys are, you know, going with me on this journey. This overall is a great show. I hope that my last two reviews haven't deterred you already, but in the meantime, I'm going to be coming out with more videos, and yeah, check out the other videos on this channel. Go ahead and check out Axelon's playthroughs. Go ahead and go to Enthusiacs.com. We've got a lot of stuff there. Podcasts, editorials. Bear and Fang actually did a great article on the Star Wars Force Awakens and how it's just for millennials. So with that, he does a thorough examination of it, and I really like it. I don't agree with some of it, but I really enjoy it, and it's really well done. So go ahead to Enthusiacs.com and check that out. So with that, I will let you guys go for now, but thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.